May I ask you to introduce yourself and your company, please?
Yeah, my name is Rami Kassis. I am the Executive Director of the Alternative Tourism Group Study Center in Beit, Sahour, Palestine.
How did you get the idea to establish this tour operation company?
The idea started from the feeling that tourism is a main activity in Palestine, but unfortunately Palestinians are not getting any benefit out of this industry, and more that the whole industry of tourism are monopolized by the Israeli side on the expense of the Palestinian people. And the idea was how we can involve ourselves as a Palestinian on this industry to be more proactive by inviting people to come to Palestine, to meet Palestinians, to talk to Palestinians, and to try to change their stereotypes, negative stereotypes and perspectives about the situation by becoming more pro justice and peace in the area, and to raise their awareness about what's going on. Because unfortunately, most of the people coming from the West listening to biased media showing that Israel is only exists and Palestine doesn't exist in this country. They are coming with Israeli tourist guide, staying in Israeli hotel, traveling to Israel, even coming to Palestinian cities without even notice our existence, or they are coming to Palestinian areas. And we thought that Palestine needs to be promoted, and people need to understand that they are visiting Palestine by meeting Palestinians, by changing their image and stereotypes about Palestine.
What is the impact of tourism on the society of Palestine, the inside Palestine tourism?
Of course, tourism is a very important industry and have a great impact on the society. Either by, if people coming on mass tourism with traditional tours, that they are only visiting some sites, for example in Bethlehem, the Church of Nativity, and return back, it's a negative impact on the society by adding more pollution, by adding more traffic on our streets, and by harming even our existence as a Palestinian living there. But if people and groups coming stay longer in Palestine, having the chance to stay with families in Palestinian areas, to talk to Palestinian people, to meet Palestinian civil society, to pray even with Palestinian Christian, this will show the Palestinian that we have support and friends in the outside world, that they can support our struggle, they can support our stay in Palestine, and then it will be an important impact socially, culturally, but also economically, by giving more revenues for the Palestinian side out of tourism.
What's the impact on Palestinian tourism that Palestinian tour operators depend on the Israeli forces for entering and exiting Palestinian territories? Palestine has no own borders with Jordan, or all borders are controlled by the Israeli forces. So is there any impact because of that?
This is actually the fact that shows that Palestine is still under occupation. That, as you said, we don't have any control over border, and this is one of the struggle we are facing as people working in tourism. And this is a factor that impedes any real development in tourism in the future. Of course, our call as a Palestinian is to invite people to come and see Palestine, and to return back as advocates for just the justice and freedom for the Palestinian people. And this is actually the difference of how you can use tourism as another tool of oppression or a tool of liberation for the Palestinian people.
Tomorrow midday, a group of local BDS activists, BDS stands for Boycott, Divestment, Sanctions, they protest against the Israeli pavilion at the ITB Berlin. They want to boycott Israel also in the field of tourism. So what is your position regarding boycotting the tourism industry of Israel as a tour operator in the tourism industry of Palestine?
Actually we are asking people to be aware of Palestine and to support our existence as a Palestinian. And all of our struggle on the tourism, industry, that Palestinians are getting only peanuts out of the tourism benefit, because the whole itinerary and program is monopolized by the Israeli side or by tour operators that they are doing this since long time and they are not willing to change. And what we are calling people is for more fairness program that can at least guarantee that the Palestinian is getting their fair distribution or fair revenues out of tourism.
You're not calling for a boycott of Israeli tourism industry?
We are calling for people to be more aware of Palestine and to give that this is the time for Palestine. Actually, boycott, when it comes to tourism, it's a little bit complicated things, because if people will boycott Israeli tourism, then they're in the same way they cannot come to Palestine, because still the whole city is controlled by Israel, and there is no way to visit Palestine without visiting or moving steps on Israel. And this is why it's a little bit complicated. But when it comes to some sites, especially sites on the West Bank that is controlled by the Israeli side, and Israel is benefiting out of these sites, we are asking people to be more conscious and awareness by visiting these sites. For example, Herodion, south of Beit Sahour. It's a place on side of the Palestinian areas, and automatically it should be for the support and benefit of the local people or the Palestinian people. But unfortunately, these sites and many others is controlled by Israel, and even Israel impose entrance fees for people to enter there. And we are calling for more raising awareness and people to be more conscious of their visit and the way they are choosing an itinerary. Of course, we are asking people not to support the occupation out of their trip by not staying on illegal Israeli settlement or supporting buying Israeli settlement products on their trip to Palestine, Israel. And still the BDS issue on tourism still needs more discussion, I think.
At the Israeli pavilion, the Israeli Tourism Board heavily promotes a tourist attraction called the City of King David in Al-Quds. What do you think about that? Some critics say that this is like a propaganda project or a project to occupy more of Al-Quds.
The City of David, it's also part of the places that people need to be aware before they their trip there, because also it's based on 1967 borders but controlled by Israel totally. And I think this site needs to be boycotted by people traveling to Israel and Palestine.